Welcome back to another edition of the SAB Video Newsletter, the Week 10 to Week 11 edition. Yes, we've played 10 weeks already. Now, this is probably the first one I've done in about, I think it's like 2 weeks since the last video I made. And while I'm not obligated to make these videos at all, the fact that I started doing them and now that I just missed like 2 weeks, I actually felt bad about it. But sorry, there was really nothing I could do. I was pretty busy, so I really couldn't get one done. But moving on. So first, I just want to go over some key points here while we did just complete Week 10. The trade deadline is this week. The start of Thursday night's game this week is it. That ends trading. So if you're going to make a trade, you have today, tomorrow, and up until Thursday night's game, and that will close the trading for the season. So if you're going to make some trades, make sure you get them in by Thursday. Also, I just want to go over the tiebreakers. We have 3 regular season games left, so we're coming down to it. We're coming down to the playoffs, and you're going to need to know those tiebreakers. Not all this information, trade deadlines, the most recent rule changes, the tiebreakers. This is all in the commission's message there on the homepage on the CBS site. So if you ever have a question, if you're ever in doubt, always check there first, and then obviously you can come to me and ask me. But I do try to keep everything important in that message there. So anything you need to know. But the tiebreakers for the division. Now, this is only the divisional tiebreakers. This determines who is first, second, third, fourth in your division. The first is the overall record, obviously. Second is your division record. That'll break a tie for overall records, anyone who's tied with the overall record. The third tiebreaker for the division is head-to-head. And then finally, the fourth tiebreaker, if needed, is your total points. So that's just for the division. So you'll see the standings in the division are ranked a certain way, and that's based on those tiebreakers. Now, the wild card tiebreaker, which determines the first 3 seeds, the division winners are all top 3 seeds. 1, 2, 3 are division winners. You can only get the bye if you win your division. So the wild card tiebreaker is overall record, obviously first. Second is total points. So if you tied for overall record, we'll go to your total points, and that'll break any ties. If we need to go further than that, the third tiebreaker is head-to-head for the wild card. So the wild card and the division are different criteria for the tiebreakers, but it's pretty easy. We've been doing this forever, so it shouldn't really be confusing to you. And again, if you need to see any of this information, it's on the commission's message on the homepage on the CBS site. Also, I was thinking about having a league dinner, an award dinner, if you will, at the end of the year once I have the trophy back from Luray and I get it engraved with the new champion. I was thinking that if a bunch of us wanted to get together for dinner, we could do the trophy presentation there. It's just another excuse for us to get together because really the whole league is only together for one day, and that's the draft. Yeah, a few of us get together here and there during the year, but really all of us together, since we never get together for an actual Sunday football, maybe we get together after football and for an award dinner. So that's something to think about. Depending on who decides to show up, we'll have it in New Jersey or we'll have it in New York City at a restaurant. Whatever, we can figure that out later, but that's something to keep in mind. So now moving on to the Week 10 recap. It was a division week, a huge division week. This week, we saw of the 6 games, 5 of the lower ranked teams won their games. So there were some huge upsets. A chance for some of those higher ranked teams to actually make some noise, to put some real distance between them. A couple teams actually could have clinched. The Waffles actually could have clinched the Hartwick division, but they lost. So it was very interesting. The closest game of the week was between the Portland Funk and the Black Thunder. Obviously, 2 teams that are struggling right now. This one might have put the final nail in the coffin for the Funk at 3-7 now, while the Thunder get up to 4-6. And they're only a game out of the playoffs. Funk are only 2 games out of the playoffs, but it's going to be harder for them, obviously. But Thunder did get themselves some life there with only 1 game behind for that final playoff spot. Tuna was the one team, the one higher-ranked team that actually won their game. They were going against the Bells, so they did win that game. And they are now 7-3 with a 3-game lead in the Denton. And the only way they can the least they could do is tie overall record in the division. So at the very least, they will be tied for the division lead. Then we would see what happens. But one more win will get them the division. Jopatown Jaguars defeated the Uncle Ron's Chicken and Waffles, the number 1 Waffles, to hold off their hopes of the division lead. That's a season sweep for the Jaguars over the Waffles. 2 wins versus the Waffles this year. 2 of their 3 losses for the Waffles were the Jaguars. So that's very nice for me, bad for you. Then we have the People's Champs, Stay Alive, beating the Steakhouse, who are suddenly struggling after 7-1, are now 7-3. But TPC gets a huge, much-needed win to keep them alive at 4-6, 1 game behind. They didn't score a ton of points, but Todd didn't break 80, so it was a nice little cakewalk for TPC. They needed that. The Wreckers get the huge victory over Tough Nuts to draw even at 6-4 with them. They both are currently 5-6.
4-5.
Tough Nuts at
4.
5. Wreckers at
5.
6 in the playoff standings. Huge win. Both of them are only 1 game behind Todd. So that Knox division is really it's probably gonna come down to it at the end there. It's gonna be fun to watch. And then the Models blow it open with 145 points this week, defeat the 40, and the Models have all of a sudden got themselves back in the race at 4-6, and the 40 have dropped to 4-6. So watch those teams, because the Models all of a sudden are in it. Now moving on to the Week 10 high week goes to that aforementioned team, the Ballstein Models, with 145.15 points this week to pick up their first high week of the season. Now all 4 teams in the Denton have taken home a high week. Even the Bells have taken home a high week. So congrats to the Models, who will walk away with at least $50 at the end of the year and are playing much better as of late. 2 wins in a row for them. So good job to them, on this high week this week. And now it's time for the always highly anticipated Week 10 Commissions Poll. We have a new number 1 team this week. It is the Underhill account at 7-3-0, jumping up from number 3 to number 1. At number 2, watch out for A-Train, because here come the Wreckers at 6-4-0 after a huge victory over Tough Nuts. At number 3, dropping down from number 1 after that tough loss to the division rival Jaguars, the Waffles jumped down to 3 at 7-3-0, but are still the number 1 playoff team. At number 4, Steakhouse, after a very disappointing under 80 performance, have dropped from 2 to 4. We're still going to keep them up there, but that is 2 losses in a row, so watch T-Bone here. They could drop, but 7-3-0, they are in good shape. Tough Nuts, after that big loss to A-Train there, have dropped from 4 to 5 at 6-4-0. At number 6, the quietly rising, sneaky little Models, who put up the high week this week, jumped from number 9 to number 6 after spending a lot of time in the basement for a long time, have moved up to number 6. That's definitely their highest ranking in a long time. At number 7, the Jaguars, the only 5-5 team in the league so far this year, after the huge victory over the number 1 Waffles, have jumped from 10 to 7. At number 8, TPC, 4-6-0. They got the victory with just breaking 100, so we're going to keep them at number 8. Number 9, the 40, did put up 110, but have lost. They're now 4-6. They're going to drop from 5 to 9. At number 10, the Thunder, who got the big victory over the Funk. They didn't score a lot of points, but they did get the win, so they moved from 12 out of the basement to number 10 at 4-6-0. That Funk team, another loss, and they are now 3-7, and it's not looking good. They are now number 11 from number 7. And then the Bells, who we know are spending a lot of time here in the basement. They did jump up to number 11 last week after the big victory over Todd, but are back in the basement again after the sub-100 week. So they are number 12, and that is your Week 11 commissions poll. Now moving on to the Week 10 Bear on Cocaine winner. This was another, like last week, I didn't do a video, but last week was another tough one where there wasn't really crazy individual explosions, scores. There were nice scores, but nothing that was like, holy cow, that's it, So I really just had to pick who I thought was contributed the most, who showed a really strong effort. So I decided to go with
And Ritter in the backfield at the same time. And this is going to be may not have gotten to the first down marks. Second down and touchdown. Not having the season he had a year ago, but he leads a very impressive drive. 38-yard line. Mariota getting flushed out of the pocket. Underneath the three different Bengals at the 50-yard line. Sleeping big miss. 70-yard line. It's up about 5 yards on the play field. First and goal back to 1 yard line. Let's see if this is a touchdown. Reaches over.
Yes. DeMarco Murray finally has a good week for Joppatown. Puts up 27.2 points on 3 touchdowns, 42 rush yards, and 4 catches for 30 yards. Now, obviously, the yards weren't there, but he did have the 3 touchdowns. So that was a huge week for them in the Joppatown's victory over the number 1 Waffles. So, like I said, it wasn't a crazy scoring week as far as individual players, but DeMarco, that was huge for him. Now, moving on to the Minuteman Award winner. There weren't many choices here this week. It was, there's always bad performances every week. But again, this is based on who's supposed to be really good and just didn't do well. So I elected to go with Hunter Henry, the one-time Joppatown Jaguars who was finally dropped a few weeks ago, but picked up by Tough Nuts this week and started, and he put up 1.2 points in that tough loss to the Wreckers on 1 catch for 7 yards. I know it's a free agent pickup, so you're saying, why would he win it? Because he was a highly drafted tight end for Joppatown. Expect to do a lot more than he's done all year. He hasn't done it at all. I think 1 week he had 1 decent week. So Hunter Henry is the Minuteman Award winner. So that will do it for Week 10 for the Week 10 information there. So now we're going to move to Week 11. And let's take a look at the Week 11 matchups. Back to the out-of-conference schedule. There's only one division game left for you guys. So back to the out-of-conference schedule. I feel like I have a good grasp on what the game of the week is going to be. But in no particular order, let's just run down the games here real quick. At the first game of the week, we will have the number 4 Steakhouse, the Knox Division Steakhouse, at 7-3-0, versus the Denton leading number 1 Underhill account at 7-3-0. Huge matchup there. Second game, we will see the number 3 Waffles leading the Hartwick at 7-3-0 versus the number 5 Tough Nut Squad at 6-4-0, who after starting the season at 4-0 have gone 2-4 since. So let's keep an eye on that team. Hopefully that trend can start to go upwards for them. Then we will see the number 8 People's Champ at 4-6-0 versus the number 12 Bells at 3-7-0, who are basically just looking to play spoiler at this point. Number 7 Jopatown at 5-5-0 versus the number 2 Wreckers at 6-4-0. This is a battle of originals here, 2 of the 3 original teams, so those are always fun. Number 9 40 at 4-6-0 versus number 10 Thunder at 4-6-0. This is actually a huge game because the winner here will get the 5 wins and keep those playoff hopes alive, while the loser will drop to 4-7 and could be looking at the end of their season. So this is a huge game. Then last but not least, the number 6 Ballstein Models at 4-6-0 versus the number 11 Funk at 3-7-0. Models obviously need this one to stay alive. Funk obviously need this one too, although it's not looking good for them. But a win here by either team is huge, so keep an eye on that game. So pretty interesting games this week. As you can tell, you could probably have an idea what the game of the week is going to be there. So that'll do it for the Week 10 to Week 11 edition of the video newsletter. Hope you enjoyed that. If you need to make waiver claims, get your claims in there. They run tonight, so don't be shy. Watch out for the squatters. You know they're going to be there. Looks like a lot of people have become squatters. I actually like to see that. A lot of late night, early morning pickups there. Pretty cool. If you need my help, get in touch. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your week. I hope I'll get a Friday edition out on the picks. So until then, peace.
When the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. On a highway to the bittersweet motel. When the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And you live in a bittersweet motel. Halfway between Erie and Pittsburgh, putting me through hell. On a highway